they've told you, no, I'm not going to bed, and you say, oh, will you try that again with respect? She's being playful, but yet she's giving them an opportunity to try it again and correct the way that they've talked to you. Always go back to that the playfulness, because that's where we learn and we discern fear. So it's important after they've done something to make sure, oh, that was a great job, thank you for using your words, or oh, that was a great job, thank you for asking again with respect, so that they know and they build that muscle memory, like, oh, when I use respect, Mom likes that, and so again, you're going back to the attachment style, I'm crying and the kid's crying and I come to them. So you're making sure that that is happening also. Another term that she used was ask permission. I'm making cookies at the oven and my kid runs in and grabs a cookie. Hey, can you try, like, I see you want a cookie. How about we ask? How do you ask to get that? So making sure that they're asking permission before they are doing something. That helps to steer in transitions. Also, to help you to be able to better navigate your child and kind of understand what's going on. When we are doing that, it helps us to be gentle and kind. You saw that mentioned also. And again, bring that back to being playful. I love when she's using the puppets because you can see the little girl, she gets excited and she starts laughing about it. I know we talked about it a little bit earlier when you're like acting something out and your kid says, well, that's not how you say it, Mom, you say it like this. And so it's nice to be able to relate to them and kind of understand how they're seeing you and mirroring kind of what's happening there. So in your workbook, it talks about ways that you can offer choices. So just to go back through, choices can help with control. There's no right or wrong when that's happening. How do you think that you could offer choices, not only maybe to your kids, but the kids that you have in a session, or in your case, it would be to your inmates? How can you offer choices in that?
I mean, there's some things that are kind of easy. I think, like, if before you even make dinner, you're like, hey, what do you think we should have? Should we have tacos or spaghetti? Mm-hmm. And you don't care because you're eating dinner, so yes. Whatever. Those are some that are easy, but then there's some that are really hard. Like, you have to be somewhere, and there's not really an option not to go, or to take a nap before you go, or to wait 15 minutes before you. So I think those are kind of like the harder ones for me and parents that work with.
For that, I mean, you have 15 minutes. How do you want to spend your, before we leave this house? What do you want to do before the 15 minutes when we have to leave, right? Like,
yeah. And I have also noticed, since I don't have kids of my own, I use TBRI with the kids that I babysit. So I know, okay, we need to be doing homework by 5 o'clock. So at 4 o'clock, I'm like, hey, we're gonna be doing homework soon. What would you like to do before we do homework? Oh, I want to do, and then you get all these things, and then you're like, all right, well, let's get started. So you're even starting that transition well before it needs to start, which is important. And they don't need, like, at an hour, maybe a third grader doesn't really grasp the time of an hour, so they don't need to know, well, in an hour we're doing homework, but they can see that transition going on, and then they can adapt to that. So I think that that's good, like those ones that are harder, just kind of starting before. And I know that's hard too, because I know in the morning, like you talk about the morning being the hardest time, like I like to sleep, like I press snooze like 5 times before I actually get out of bed. So like maybe instead of 5, you press it 3, and you get your kids moving faster. So yeah, that's good. Any other examples of some choices? Do any of you already incorporate choices? Yes? Yeah. What have you seen that works?
Like, okay, so I homeschool, and so we have a lot of changes in our day and transitions, and if there's a time when one of my my young ones who've been adopted, if he's having a hard time with his next transition, I'll give him the option. Like, you can either go play your trains in your room, or he likes to sit in a basket with like pillows and blankets all around him and read books. So I'll say you can either go play trains in your rooms, or you can read books. And then I know he's going to be doing something that's not going to cause any trouble or anything, somewhere safe if he can play, but then he's got the option for it. He might need that basket at that point if he's having a hard time.
Yeah.
He'll choose that, or if he just wants to go play and have fun, he'll do that.
That's good. She's like, I've already got this down. No, that's awesome. And that's why it's so important to be present with our kids, because we can tell when we need to give them a choice of that. That's perfect. Like when we need to give them, or do you need, like, let's go swing, like let's go, do something so that it's sensory oriented. So that's really good. Yeah.
I do have a question.
Sure.
Is there ever a time, so you were talking about like you offer them choices and they give you a third option. Are you ever allowed to say no? Like I hear a lot of like say yes, give them other these, do the heart list thing. Can you ever just say no?
Yeah. So in using TBRI, we like to stay away from the word no, because a lot of times when kids hear no, that's when they start that flight and that fight. They're like, they just say no to me. Like, no, I can't do, like I need control. And so instead of saying no, it's finding other ways to say no without saying no, if that makes sense. So let's say they throw a compromise at you that you don't want. So you don't want them to wear the mini pajamas because they wore them last night. So like, oh, I don't know if that's the best choice because those are dirty. If you don't like either of these choices, what about another choice? And maybe they'll, So compromises also keep the behavior moving. So and smoothly. So when you go into a compromise, you can navigate that. So you give the two choices. You can do this or you can do this, and then they pick one, and you're like, all right, buddy, let's go. So you're automatically going back to that playful engagement, and then you're leading them to whatever's next. And so not only is it great for transitioning, it's great for keeping them in the behavior and what's going on. They also help children trust that their needs are heard, and giving that voice that we've talked about. Power. We talked about this a little bit with not wanting to give up that power, but it shows the kid that you're hearing their needs, that you're listening to them, giving that voice. And it also teaches them that their words have power, so that you're listening and you're hearing them, and you're not just, like we did earlier, you're not just playing on your phone, looking around, like you're actually engaged and you're giving them. I love that activity because could you imagine if we gave it, like, our kids just a minute, like if we give them just a minute when they ask for it, like, holy cow, like that would be wonderful. And then a minute, and it doesn't have to be like a minute and then whatever. You can keep giving them those minutes, and then soon enough you're like doing it and you're like, wow, I was engaged with them for 5 minutes instead of 3, like that's great. And so just building on to that. With the life value terms, those are those ones that can you say that again, respect, or are you asking or telling? And I love, like, those terms are very great because you can pull them out, and then soon enough you're hearing your kids do it, and they're doing it back to you. Mom, was that respectful? Are you asking with respect? No, I wasn't. You're right. And so it comes back. But when we are using these terms, make sure that they're terms that would actually come out of your mouth. So Karen is from Texas, and she's like the sweetest lady in the world. And when a kid asks for something, she says, "You bet your boots." Well, that is sure never coming out of my mouth. So I wouldn't say that, because "your bet your boots" is not going to come out of my mouth. So the kid's going to look at you like, "My boots, what?" So something like if you are wanting eye contact from them and you're like looking at them and kind of lifting their chin, trying to get them to give you like, "What color are those eyes again?" And then they'll look at you, "Oh, they're blue. Like, thank you for making that eye contact. So being playful, but also using those same terms so they get used to it and they know what to expect and what happens with that. Oh, the other one she does is, whoa, Nelly. That one kind of my own. So when we are doing those life terms, that we're doing it with respect, we're being gentle and kind. We are cooperating and we're having compromises and, are you asking or telling? And the ones that I love, you saw, they were doing a group. So when they start the group, they do 3 rules. So it's stick together, no hurts, and have fun. And so what they do with that is, like when you stick together, they'll like make a sign for it. So it might be like stick together, and then like no hurts, and then have fun. So it's an easy way to be able to connect, but also to engage in what's happening and what's going on with what you're trying to do and the direction you're trying to go. Sticking together is one I like to use a lot because we talk about like giving voice to our child and going at the behavior before it happens. So when we do that, we're sticking together. No hurts, kind of what we talked about with the shooting the Nerf guns, like no hurts. So not only our words, but we're not hitting each other, we're not punching each other in the face, we're not kicking each other. We're sticking together. And then having fun, going back to that playful engagement. So there's words behind what we're doing, but also like some of them just happen naturally.